Hey guys, Julian here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make deep minimal house, chord stabs, and pads. I made a bunch of videos on this style, but I've not yet made a video showing you guys the techniques I use to make the chords and stabs and pads and all those different sort of very juicy and lush sounds that you hear in the background of these tracks. And I know quite a few techniques, so today I'm going to be breaking all that down for you and showing you how you guys can go from scratch and make a bunch of stuff for this style of house. Now, to go along with this video, I just dropped a new sample pack called Definitive Deep Minimal House Chord Stabs and Pads Volume 1. What this pack is it is 55, actually, I believe, samples of chords and pad stabs and all that kind of stuff that you need to make these tracks in this style. You can see I've got, a bunch of stabs here, a bunch of pads. I'll play you some of these as well. So yeah, you can hear it's just a bunch of really solid sounds you can use to get some instant inspiration for the style of track. And also with this, you get 5 bonus kits of drum loops, as well as a bunch of bonus effects, plus bonus MIDI files. So you really get everything in this pack that you need to make a track in this style, and a bunch of stuff, just to get some really great inspiration and stuff to work with your tracks. And yeah, link to that is at the top of the description. It's on my Bandcamp. If you guys enjoy my videos, this is a really, really great way to support me. I'm not making a whole lot just with YouTube, but with these sample packs, I'm able to keep going and keep bringing you guys more tutorials and teaching you stuff in the style that's not out there on the internet. And yeah, like I said, you just get a bunch of really great samples to work from and to build your own tracks with. Link is at the top of the description. And let's dive into the video. So yeah, so what I've got here is I have this little loop pulled up. This is actually just all stuff from the pack. Just some drums and a bass line. It'll give us a solid foundation to start on. And so I'm going to start by making a pad here. So we are in the key of C minor. So typically for the pads, what you're going to use is maybe something kind of like analog, or like a more sort of like warm synth, or whichever synth you like to use to get that type of sound. And what we're going to do is we're going to start actually with the chord. We're not going to start with the synth patch. So typically for this style, you're not just going to use like a basic major or minor chord. What you're going to do is write out either a major or minor 7th, or a major or minor 9th chord. So a regular C minor would look like this. It would just be C, the root note, D sharp, the minor 3rd, and then G, which would be the 5th. A minor 7 chord would be that plus a minor 7th on top, which is A sharp. And if you look, you can see that minor 7th is just 2 notes down from the root note. And then if you wanted to make this into a minor 9th chord, all you'd have to do then is just add a 9th on top. And the 9th is actually just just 1 note down from the minor 3rd. So we can just go there, and then you put it up an octave. And then, so I'll show you here is what just a regular minor chord sounds like. Then with the minor 7th. So you can hear that adds a bit more of like a jazzy, kind of deeper feel to it. And then we add on that 9th. And this is super jazzy and super like deep, sort of minimal house-esque. And yeah, so you can hear, by adding these extra voices on top of the chord, it's just a really good way to give it some color. And you can put these all in different places too. Like you could take the 9th, put it down there. Then you get that kind of like dissonant thing happening between the 9th and the minor 3rd. So you can really get creative, but it's all about just starting with like a minor or a major chord if that's the key you're in, and then adding on the 7th and the 9th. And then so for the synth sound, I'm going to take the amp envelope and right off the bat just set it up like that, so it's more just kind of like a straight note that you hear all the way through. And what we're going to do is I like to use a bit of detuning with these kinds of chords. it gives it some movement over time. And then what it really comes down to with these chords is the filtering. So I'm going to turn off this envelope here. And there's a few different types of filters you can use. Typically, these style of chords are going to be very deep and very smooth. So what you're going to want to use is just any kind of filter that is going to cut off the high end. So either a low pass filter or a band pass filter. So if we start with this low pass here, you can hear we just bring it down to there. And that's great. Now it just creates this deep background chord. Maybe we'll pitch these up an octave. Because the idea of this is that it's going to be more of a background sound. It's not meant to be right up in your face with the bass line and the percussion. This is meant to be just more kind of atmosphere. So that low pass sounds good. We can also try a band pass. Which, as you can hear, gives you more of a range of motion. Maybe we'll do... I think I'm actually going to go to the low pass, because with the band pass you can move it all around and get cool stuff. With the low pass though, you still get those deeper low end and mid-range frequencies. So we can take that. I'll turn on, I usually like to use a little bit of an LFO on the filter as well, because these chords are all about movement. If it's just happening kind of the same thing the whole way through, it's going to be boring. But if you add an LFO on there and keep that moving, you can hear it can really bring the synth to life. And we'll turn on some vibrato, bit of unison. And then this is where we're going to give it some stereo width. So I'm going to add a bit of chorus and some reverb. Turn up the feedback on that chorus to kind of give it some texture. And then I'll usually add something to kind of fatten it and make it a bit more full too, which drum bus works really well for that. Because you can hear it doesn't get too crunchy, but it's a lot fatter. And now we have this very nice deep background chord like this. I'm gonna just get a low pass or a high pass on here and cut out the low end, and then we'll sidechain it to the kick as well, so that it's really fitting into the mix. And there we go. So that is a way to create a really nice smooth pad for the style. Now what we're gonna do here is we're gonna move on with some chord stabs. So for the chord stabs, you can use a few different things. I'm gonna start with the operator. And what we're going to do is we're going to just start with the notes here again, because I think, when you're making a synth patch, it's important to keep in mind that most synth patches that work really well, it's because they work really well with the notes that are being played. It's not just that it's a cool synth patch, that would work well as a preset. A lot of times, if you try to save famous patches from tracks that you guys think are really good, and just, open them in your own synth, it wouldn't sound as good if you just played your own part with it. It's because it works really well with what you're writing. So, you always want to start with the MIDI, in my opinion. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to just write in a little chord here. This is going to be one that's going to kind of just hit and play out really quickly. It's going to be that. And then we'll make this a minor 7th chord. You'll notice there's a bit of a pattern with the chords too. You can see there's 2 notes between this one, 3 notes between this one, 2 notes between this one. So it's not actually as hard as just knowing exactly where everything fits music theory wise. But so we're gonna take that and we're gonna do a bit of a tack on it. So this is gonna be one of those kind of more sort of rising chord stabs like that. And so what we're going to do with the FM here is we can actually just start getting creative, just bringing in the sine waves. Detune a little bit. And we'll use a bit of a bandpass filter on this one as well. Give it some chorus and an echo. And something I like to do with the stabs is just like this really, really fast echo like this. Yeah, so you get that like kind of width with it, and we'll give it a bit of drum bus as well. And there we go. So that's creating like a nice groove because we get that like, you know, it's not just like a very kind of simple, straightforward stab. It feels a little bit more evolved because it's like. There we go. Put a bit of attack on the second oscillator as well. So yeah, FM synthesis is a really great way to make the stabs in the style, especially these kind of more like evolving sounding ones. Another way is just using kind of more straightforward sort of subtractive synthesis stuff. Like we'll take analog here, and what I'll do is let's write in some notes for this one. Again, it's just gonna be a chord. Maybe this one will be like an F major 7. Actually, I'll just take that F and put it up. There we go, and then I'm gonna do this where it'll jump up an octave, so it's gonna be like boop, boop, boop. And then we're just going to put a bit of swing on that by moving this back a little. And that second time, it'll do like. I think I'm going to take this and bring that up an octave again. And there we go. So now that we have our pattern, we can just go in here and start working with the synth. So we're going to take the amp envelope and set that to be a bit more just like a quick, like that. And then I'll do like, let's do 2 square waves here. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to put this pitch envelope. The way analog works is you're just working with individual pitch envelopes for each oscillator. So the first one will have it just kind of go up a little. Yeah, so getting that like vroom, on just one of the oscillators. There we go. And then we'll also take the filter envelope. And we're going to put a bit of an LFO on this filter too, just like we did with the pad, because it's going to make it kind of change over time. It's all about making sounds that aren't just like one thing the whole way through, you know. But now you can hear that's kind of like moving and growing a little bit throughout the track. We'll put a bit of chorus on here. Bit of vibrato. A bit of echo as well. I'm going to do like a bit of a... Let's just do 8th notes. Then you get that like... Give it some reverb too. Give it a bit of drum bus. Drum bus is really good for these because the thing is like when you're making a more percussive synth sound like this, it can be tough to get it to like really sound, you know, percussive and to make it not just sound like that sort of dry synth sound. But drum bus just immediately takes it, gives it some texture. And yeah, you can hear it right there. And then we'll add, let's make one more. And this one is going to be also using operator. It's just going to fit in here. It's just going to be like a quick. That'll just be a minor chord. But I'll actually put the 9th in there. And the other thing is like the amount of chords and stabs that go into it too. Like, you know, you're not just gonna have like one of these. You're usually gonna have like 3 or 4 of them because you need that much stuff to really fill the track up. Alright, cool. So then let's take this one, and so we'll put it down an octave. I'm gonna make this one using FM. Again, we're gonna use this envelopes to make it really like nice and plucky. Cool, and then we'll put a bit of chorus on that. And some like fast reverb. And I think I'm gonna do something creative with the reverb on this one too. We can just take it and I'll automate it to go like that. Like kind of like a sweep. So we're gonna get yeah, there we go. So that's another thing, is using the automation to like really bring it to life. Cool, and then let's hear what this sounds like from the start now. And yeah, there you go. So that is how you do it. That is how you make some chords and stabs and all that kind of stuff that is used a ton in these deep minimal house tracks. You know, you can see like it seems complicated, but it's really just a matter of like creating interesting things with the synth and, you know, getting creative with pretty simple synth sounds, all things considered. So yeah, that is it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe, and let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get the definitive deep minimal house chord stabs and pads sample pack volume 1. Link is right at the top of the description on my Bandcamp. Again, this is a great way to get some really good samples for your tracks, as well as just to support me. If you guys enjoy my videos, definitely consider checking that out and purchasing it, because it helps me out a ton. I'm not making a whole lot with just these videos. With the sample packs, we can keep going and making dope content for you guys every single day. And yeah, that is me for this one. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.